Hello everyone, it's RASA VON WERDER, RASAVONWERDER, from the University of Mother God Church, aka Kellie Everts, the lady who strips for God and dances to save men's souls. Look me up on the websites Woman Thou Art God for my teaching work, and KellieEverts.com for my show business biography and my youth, my biographical story. And today, and look me up under Lulu.com, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, iUniverse Blurb for 20 books I have written and published on many different subjects. Alright, here we go. Now I'm talking about this fake guy, this phony yogi guy, Hindu, who he wore a turban. He wore a white turban with a with a rhinestone in the front, and he said he was a prince. Prince Nutty, N-U-T-T-Y is what I call him, Prince Nutty. But I spent 2 years of my life with him, and he was a stumbling block, but led to a stepping stone. But he wasn't all bad. He was more bad than good, but he had some good to him. Like, I learned a lot from him. It wasn't spiritual good. It was mind over matter good. So he was a mind over matter freak, and he believed, which had some truth to it, that the raw food diet would heal everything. And my present day mentor in Marina del Rey, California, Dr. Richard Schulze, who is a herbalist, he believes the raw food diet is the cure for all illness as well. Now, I don't follow that. It's too hard to follow. But I am 95% vegetarian today, but I eat about 2,000 calories a day. And it doesn't keep me real thin. I have to eat a starvation diet in order to be real thin. Like below 150. I have to starve. Really. I'm not joking. You think I'm joking. You think I'm exaggerating. In order for me to be thin today, I have to be, like, at night, hungry. All evening and all night. And so hungry that I dream about food. So, but anyway, not important. Let's get past that. So, so this guy was a fake, but he preached a lot of shit, and nobody followed him. He was always talking and conning and talking, and he talked in this English accent, and he was very, like, authoritative and blah blah blah. He was a hypnotist, and he could do opera a little bit, and he could play the Song of India, and he could play boogie woogie, and he could tap dance, and supposedly a prince. He called himself a prince with a turban, and he was a fake, phony asshole is what he was, and he was trying to get sex out of, I think he was bisexual, because I think he used his office to get sex out of, I think he did sex in his office, and I think he liked young men as well as women. He was trying to get anybody he could get, one of those people that try to get anybody they could get for sex. So he was teaching all these mind over matter things, and I wanted to learn mind over matter. So he taught me hypnosis, and then he set me up, and all the people that he could not hypnotize, that came to him for help, whatever, because he was a hypnotist, he gave to me, and I was able to hypnotize people better than he could. Why? You would wonder why. Why would that be? Well, probably, in my opinion, because they trusted me. They knew I was not going to try to get sex out of them or con him out of anything. They didn't trust him. See, a person, when they're hypnotized, they have to allow, usually, permit it or allow it. So if a person doesn't trust you, and they think you're going to pull some shit on them while they're under the trance, they're not going to go under. And to go into a trance, to go under hypnosis, you have to be completely relaxed. So the person has to be trusting you, you see. So with me, they trusted me, and so I was able to hypnotize people easily. I mean, I never met a person I couldn't hypnotize, you know, but they allow you to. They allow you to. So, okay, so that's just one thing. And later on, I continued the hypnosis here in upstate New York. I set up an office for a while, but the office was too far away from me and it wasn't convenient. And after a couple of months, I quit it because it was too much work for not enough money. But so what else about this guy? I began to practice the things he said. You don't need food, you don't need sleep, we are invincible, we are immortal. It went on and on and on, all these superlatives of what we are and what we can do. So I started practicing. I began to hypnotize myself not to sleep. So I rented a sewing machine and I would sew clothes all night and hypnotize myself not to sleep. And hypnotize myself not to eat. Starve myself. So finally I did this bit by bit by bit, and finally I got to a point where I did not sleep but an hour and a half. After a while I just dropped, and I went to sleep for 1.5 hours a night, and I usually have to sleep 8 to 10 hours a night usually, and today I even sleep more, 10 to 12 hours a night, but then I needed at least 8, 9, 10 hours of sleep a night. And so now I hypnotize myself not to eat. I did not eat for 4 days and 4 nights, and I did not sleep for 4 days and 4 nights. This Prince Nutty was absenting him from where I live, where he lived with me, because he was, I don't know, he was fucking around with somebody or one or more people, and he wasn't coming back to the apartment at all, so he was absent a lot lately. And so I was practicing this: no eating, no sleeping, no coffee, no eating, no sleeping, no coffee. And I went like that for 4 days and 4 nights. So I very proudly show up to the office, and I remember I bumped into him at some coffee shop somewhere. Yeah, there was a coffee shop on the way, and we stopped, and he was sitting, I remember that, he was sitting across from me, and I told him, well, I've done it. He said, what? Well, I said, all the things you preached that a person can do, I done them. He says, what do you mean? So I told him I haven't slept but an hour and a half for 4 days and 4 nights, 4 days, 4 24-hour sessions, and I have not eaten a bite of food in 4 days and 4 nights, and I'm not the least bit hungry. I've drank no coffee. I'm not tired. I use self-hypnosis. He was shocked. He was shocked, he was alarmed, and he was scared because I was getting really powerful. You understand me? I was doing things he couldn't do. I was doing things he, as a con man, he preached, but he didn't do it. And now I was doing it. And besides that, I forgot to say, I began to hear a voice, and the voice began to guide me. I didn't know who that was, but I said, who are you, to the voice? And the voice said, I am you. And I said, you can't be me, because I'm me. So I don't know who you are. Now, I didn't know it at the time, but it was the still small voice of God that I began to hear clearly, because I was meditating, well, like by self-hypnosis, I was really meditating hours a day, not eating. And that brings you into a meditative state too, not sleeping. I became closer to God. I became super, super, super psychic, but I already had the ability. See, I had the talent, the ability. He got so spooked out that I could do this. He was scared. And he convinced me not to do it. He said, you're not ready for this, you're not ready. That was his excuse. I wasn't ready. I was ready, I did it. But he was scared of me. He was scared of me having these abilities, and especially the voice that I heard. He didn't know what it was. It scared the shit out of him, all right? So I will explain finally in the next video how I broke up with him and how I met the next person on the agenda. To be continued.